This podcast is brought to you by iPlayHockey.ca. iPlay is the leading hockey insurance provider to coaches, camp instructors, spring and summer hockey leagues, and tournaments across Canada. If you need insurance for hockey, iPlay has you covered. iPlay also provides hockey players and coaches with a wide range of free tools, drills, and skills in their drill vault to enhance on-ice performance, and they provide crucial off-ice knowledge as well. So if you need insurance for a hockey team, league, or camp, or if you just want to teach your kids some new drills, head on over to iPlayHockey.ca and check out their new website.
Canada wins again against France this time. 10-2 is the final score. Welcome to episode 269 of the Boys in the Booth podcast. Chad Melbourne joined by Casey Abrams. No Harper Cody once again for this episode, post-game reacting to Canada versus France in that 10-2 victory. Harper is busy with the Brockville Winter Classic in Brockville this weekend, so he's doing bigger and better things. But Case, just right off the top, what did you think of that game? What were your initial thoughts? We said before we started going here, that was one of the hockey games of all time.
Yeah, I didn't really love the start of this game compared to others so far. It seemed a bit more sluggish and sloppy, and really my big takeaway of this game, especially the first half, I mean, obviously things opened up like crazy later on, but
yeah,
early on, it seemed like a lot of passing, too much passing, a lot of, trying to hit the back door instead of just taking the shot. Whereas the first two games, it was a shoot first, ask questions later mentality. And I think that I want to see that stick around, the shooting, more so than the tic-tac-toe backdoor passes, because that game could have been like 14-2 if they just shot a couple more times early on. But you got to still love the compete level of Canada, the feistiness, the battling and the physicality was still there and really spread out ice time tonight. So seeing, the highest forward at 1750 McDavid surprising in this game, you'd think you want to rest him, but just being able to spread out everyone, get touches. They had 9 different goal scorers. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, like even a guy like Sam Bennett played almost 10 minutes. Like the ice time was certainly spread around, which was a good thing. But I agree with you, Case. Off the top of this game, there was a lot of passing going on, a lot of tic-tac-toe plays where they could have just put a shot on net. And you always have to think to yourself, like, you're an NHL player. If you're flying down the wing and you're facing a guy who's playing in the Slovak League or, who has only had a cup of coffee in the AHL, you might beat him with a clean shot that wouldn't otherwise beat NHL goaltenders. So I feel like that shoot first mentality has to come back in the quarterfinals and the semis. I'm totally with you there. And speaking of the goaltender who was in net for Team France, bit of an interesting story. Julian Junka, or Junka, however you want to pronounce it, it was his birthday today. So that's pretty exciting to play Team Canada on your birthday. Great numbers in the Slovakian League, by the way. Like I mentioned earlier, sort of alluded to, played a cup of coffee in the AHL and the ECHL. And honestly, even though he gives up, I think it was the 6 before Keller came in for the third period, I thought he was pretty good. I think he made some pretty big saves for Team France and kept it close for as long as he could. What do you think of him in net today?
Yeah, he robbed a couple early on, kind of right on the doorstep out front. Those quick passes. One that comes to mind is, and it stood out to me because we talked about it after we saw it, was Tom Wilson right on the doorstep. I was talking about it with Reb. I'm like, man, how nice would it be to play with Connor McDavid? He just planted himself there, pivoted, put his stick on the ice, and the pass like threaded to the needle, perfect tape to tape. He got it up, but somehow he got across pretty quick and stopped him right on the doorstep there. So there was a lot of those saves, and it kind of reminds me of the Italy goalie, like just getting bombarded. Sure, he's got a ton of goals against, but what can you do? He looked good.
What more can you do? That's right.
Yeah.
And speaking of Tom Wilson and just being served dimes by Connor McDavid, he was back on Connor McDavid's line with Macklin Celebrini. That was something interesting off the start of the game. McDavid's back with Celebrini and Wilson, not McKinnon. And McKinnon was back with Suzuki and Hagel. I thought that was a bit of an interesting changeup from John Cooper, who, that line previously had a ton of success in the previous game. But yeah, Tom Wilson, like there was another chance too where And of course, he gets the goal in this game. He has the fight. We'll get to that later. But there was another chance where Wilson sort of had his stick on the ice and thought Celebrini was going to shoot, and Celebrini hit him on the tape, and Wilson was kind of like, I wasn't expecting that. So it's got to be just a surreal experience for him playing with two guys who are just all world talents who can just hit your stick whenever they want.
Well, he ended up with the Gordie Howe hat trick tonight, so he's involved. He made the most of his 11:31 on the ice, but I think that this is a bit of a glimpse into the mastermind of Jon Cooper, and I think this is playing out exactly how he wanted. I think in the long run, he wants to have these split up lines where you have just a world-class player up and down the lineup and able to spread things out so you can't be locked down by any sort of defensive unit. And he got that opportunity in the second game. So you start with what you want with the spread out lineups. And then in the second game, you test like, okay, if I need something big late in the medal games, can I put MacKinnon, Celebrini, McDavid? What's that look like? Well, the chemistry was there. We're confident that they've got the feel of that now. We can come back to that anytime. Let's go back to what we actually want to carry through, which is the spread out lineup, and get the chemistry back going with that so we can head into the quarterfinals. And I have full confidence in Jon Cooper making the right decision always. Like he's a strategic mastermind when it comes to line matchups, line pairs, everything. It's great.
Yeah. I agree. I've got all the faith in Cooper. And you're right, now that he's seen it work last game, he knows the nuclear option is, in fact, an option to load up that top line. And before we move off of Wilson playing on that top line, I thought his goal in particular was kind of a great showcase of exactly why he's on the team, because he creates the goal by separating the player from the puck behind the net, bumping him, and then forcing a turnover. And then he grabs the puck, sends it to the point, forget who it was, but they throw it on net and Wilson's there to cash in. So he created his goal. It's not like he's just like sitting on the doorstep waiting for tap-ins. I think he's really contributing. And that's something that Mike Johnson was talking about on the broadcast after Wilson leaves the game for the fight, is that, he's become an important piece of this team already, like playing on that top line with McDavid. So I thought he was really great and really effective tonight, or this morning.
BetterHelp is the paid partner of this video. The new year is a blank space for you to write a new story. BetterHelp makes it more convenient to get you started. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy more comfortable and convenient. They carefully make sure therapists on the platform are well qualified, and their customer support team is there to help you if you have any questions. With over 7,000 reviews and a 4.5 rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform you can trust. Your next chapter starts today. Get 10% off your first month of BetterHelp online therapy at BetterHelp.com/boysinthebooth in paid partnership with BetterHelp.
Yeah, he's playing his role perfectly, and just being that puck retriever. We've talked about that a million times, and then it's pretty easy for him. They talked about it on the broadcast. He's good at putting the puck in the skating lane of McDavid and not in his feet, which would be the hardest thing playing with McDavid. He's so fast. You might not be used to that. You might be, a few inches behind on the pass every time starting out. But this kind of reminds me of Devon Taves' 3 words to describe your game. Pass to Kale. Well, Tom Wilson, pass to McDavid, pass to Celebrini. He knows his role out there. And then he displayed his role even further later on, mixing things up, letting the team know you can't be messing around out here in a 12-2 hockey game or whatever it was at that time, 10-2 hockey game.
Yeah.
Not
so
12.
We've sort of danced around it, but let's get to the fight, because how it happens is, what was his name? Crenon, if that's how you want to pronounce it. I'm probably butchering it. The French will be at me for that. But Crenon drills Nathan MacKinnon behind the net. He gets an elbow right to his face. He's 6'5", 225 pounds, drills him. And right after you saw the replay there, Crenon goes to MacKinnon, who is still on the ground, sort of gives him a tap on the shoulder and says, "Look, bud, didn't mean to do that." Well, Right after that, Wilson is kind of surveying. He's skating around and kind of letting the other team know, letting Team France know that he's out there and that kind of stuff won't fly. Well, fast forward a couple minutes, Wilson hammers Cronin on the end boards behind the net. They start jostling, and then Cronin is the first one to drop the gloves. Wilson gets engaged right after that. The gloves fly off. Cronin sort of yanks him down. Wilson wants more of a piece of him, but the refs separate it. It is a fight. It wasn't, I would say, Wilson's best showing in terms of fighting, but just so cool that we're, all the talk leading into the Olympics was this isn't going to be the Four Nations. There's not going to be the same type of fighting or animosity, whatever, because it's a more gentle game and, it's going to be called differently, whatever. Well, we got to see a fight, and it was against France, not even Team USA. So what'd you make of that whole situation?
Yeah, this is pretty strange with the international hockey because fighting is kind of, a dangerous line to be walking on, because now we have the question of, is Tom Wilson going to be suspended, get a game misconduct for that, have to miss the quarterfinals. I think he ended up with 27 penalty minutes in the game because of this. So you never really know what's going to happen there, but the Olympics has to pick a lane and fully commit to it, because if they're not going to have fighting available, if you can't police the game yourself, then they have to call games tighter when they're 10-2. You can't be letting guys, hitting them, their star player in the head. There's so much more to be won and lost late in these games when it's, completely out of reach. The only thing that matters now is goal differential. You just can't have the star players of any country, and then let alone Colorado, their best player, getting a hit to the head behind the net. There's pointless at the end of the day. So I don't know. I don't think the hit was that dangerous in the end, but it has to be situational late in the game like that, complete blowout. Just call the 5 and move on. And then you don't have to worry about Tom Wilson going out there and fighting, or let them fight. Yeah. Pick one.
Yeah.
And then and commit. They didn't really commit either way now. So it's still open for interpretation what you can do in this. Can you fight? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, and it sounds like Wilson is not going to get a game for this. So, I mean, we don't exactly, I don't know if there's been a statement or anything released, but it sounds like he's not going to get a game. So we'll see. But I got to say, man, when I first saw that hit, I'm shocked McKinnon wasn't taken out of the game by the concussion spotter. He got drilled, elbow to face. I was shocked that he was still in the game and then was still effective later on in the game too.
Yeah. And I respect and appreciate the apology after on the ice, but it does become one of those things where it's like, okay, I don't need you to apologize. I just need you to be better, because there's a hit later on Jarvis that bloodied him up. A hit up high by a 6'6", 240-pound French player on little old Jarvis. And he did the same thing, gave him a tap and said, oh, my bad. It's like playing adult rec ball hockey. You get slashed in the shin 6 times. If you apologize to me 6 times, it starts to not mean anything. So let's just rein it in here. But yeah, no, it looked a lot more dangerous in slow motion. I'd say that, which is weird for a head hit. Usually it's the other way around. Full speed, you're like, oh God.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of slow motion, this is a good place to segue. I thought Mark Stone was one of the best players on the ice today. I really thought he was fantastic. And I say slow motion tongue in cheek because he had that, breakaway speed. The guys on the bench were even laughing about it. He has that breakaway, he's shielding off a defender, and he's going maybe 5 miles an hour, and he tucks it in. So I thought he was honestly so good. Marner continues to hit him in the spot whenever he needs it. And yeah, Stone was controlling the play and slowing things down to his benefit.
Yeah, I didn't see how many shots he ended the game with. I think he had 5 in the second period. So they say he ended with 4. They must have taken one away at some point, but he seemed to be all over the ice. And then that picking off that pass on a shorty, burning it up ice. And it was funny because before that, Mike Johnson had already talked about how he's the worst skater on Canada. He keeps talking about it. They're like, yeah, he's one of the best passers, one of the best high fivers in the league, but just not a great skater. And I'm like, man, the guy's an Olympian. Let's stop talking about this. So Reb and I were laughing about that on the couch, and then he gets a breakaway and scores, and we're like, hey, keep doing you there, Mark. Holy. So I don't know. It's funny. He does look like he skates in cement, but he somehow is always in the right spot. So
just the insane hockey IQ. Like watching him on that breakaway, being a Leafs fan, it reminded me of seeing John Tavares. He gets the odd breakaway. He had a breakaway in overtime this year, and it's like, that guy's got a breakaway. And of course, for Stone, like he tucks it. I thought he was great all night, so I had to bring him up. Okay, Binnington talk. What'd you think?
I don't really know how to judge any goalie in that situation. I can't comment one way or the other. You're barely in the game, and then all of a sudden they have like a grade A chance. It's how do you prepare yourself? How do you stay locked in? So it's hard to critique Binnington in any way going into the quarterfinals now based off this game. I think you just have to continue to think about the Four Nations, think about the Czechia game, and kind of move on. This was awkward for him, but
this podcast is sponsored by SeatGeek, the absolute best ticket app out there. SeatGeek takes the confusion out of buying tickets, making it quick and easy to get the best deals to tickets at your favorite sporting event. SeatGeek does this awesome thing where they score each ticket out of 10 based on its value, so you know whether you're getting a good or a bad deal. Last time I got tickets to see the Devils play, I first saw red tickets. I waited it out, monitored the price in-app, and once I saw green, I pulled the trigger. SeatGeek makes it that easy. And here's the best part. SeatGeek has completely hooked us up. Boys in the Booth listeners get $20 off their first purchase on SeatGeek with the promo code BOYSINTHEBOOTH in all caps. Click the link in our description to download the app, and remember to get your discounted tickets using the code BOYSINTHEBOOTH in all caps. Get great seats for a fraction of the cost with SeatGeek.
Yes, I agree. It's tough to critique him for his efforts in this game, but for the second goal. The second goal, I don't think you can allow that. It's the slap shot coming in on his blocker side. It ends up beating him over the glove, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. And it just can't go in. Like it's a slap shot from the top of the circle. I get that, but it's unimpeded. It's not screened, and it just beats him clean. And then right after that, there was a chance maybe 30 seconds after that for Team France where I forget who it was in the slot, kind of a spinning like wrap play, and it gets stuck under his pad rather than him like deflecting it into the corner. So I don't know. I just thought like he didn't seem dialed in that game, but I do think he's one of those goalies where the more shots he gets, the more dialed in he gets. So it is tough to fault him. And at least his goal against wasn't as bad as Jeremy Swayman's goal against the other day. If you saw that was brutal.
Yeah, that was a tough look, but I do have to, we've commented on before, but I got to point out Binnington's puck play is just,
yes.
I smile every time it happens. He actually toe dragged a forward into the boards tonight.
Saw it.
Did you see that? Like,
saw it. Yeah.
I just said ew on the couch just watching that. I love it. I love puck movers. I mean, I'm a Devils fan. I watched Brodeur for the early part of my life just make insane puck moves, but he's more of a pinpoint passer. Binnington is like stick handling out there. It's really something to watch.
The T-drag, I can picture the play. The T-drag was great.
Speaking of stick handling, I got to talk about Cale Makar. I think this was his best game so far, and just jumping into every play, getting involved in offense, hitting amazing breakout passes. But his goal, how about 3 fake shots before he walks into a wrister from the point? They kept just sagging off, and he would fake shot, and then lets it rip top shelf. I was like, yeah, you can't give that guy that much time, but that goes back to the power play. And who do you shade? They're sagging off to take away Crosby on the goal line and McKinnon on the back door. It's like you can't do anything, so you sag off of Makar, and he puts a pinpoint shot top shelf after head faking them into submission.
Yeah, it was like it was funny because Mike Johnson and Cece were talking about how the power play needs to be better, right? Like they didn't generate much on the previous power play, and all the talk going into that one was, listen, they've got guys who are number ones on their respective power plays. Like they just have to be more engaged and stop thinking that someone else is going to make a play and kind of jump in there and do it yourself. Well, they don't waste any time. It's McDavid, I believe, who gives it to Makar at the top. And Makar just goes, all right, if you're going to give me this space, I'm going to walk in and just rip it. And what a shot that was. And yeah, you mentioned it. Crosby was to the left of the goalie. McKinnon was to the right. I forget who was right in front looking for a tip. But then it's like, if you're the goalie, and I wrote this down in the moment because I was feeling for him, Junka, he's playing so deep in his net, but he has to. He literally can't come out and challenge the Makar shot, which will give him a better opportunity to stop it because he's got to worry about backdoor passes on either side. Like, so you're talking about the defensive play. They can't shade one way or another. Same for the goalie, man. He was in an impossible situation.
You always have to think about the Crosby chop. We've seen that a million times, and
of course
it's definitely available backdoor, but you did see the goalie come out and attack later on, and Celebrini still beat him high. Yeah. I think he was in the hash marks when he scored on him, but so yeah, I don't know. Damned if you do, damned if you don't, I guess.
Yeah, it's true. And on Makar, like while we're still talking about him, yes, I did think this was probably his best game. I thought he looked electric for most of it. However, you probably know what I'm going to bring up. 2 minutes left in the game, turns it over, trying to clear it out of the zone, gets absolutely dog walked by someone who almost scores on Team France. And then he took a penalty hauling him down after Binnington made the save. So, yeah, I thought that was a particularly tough shift for Makar, but he was great most of the night.
Yeah, they need him playing as much as possible. And I thought Taves looked better than ever in a Canada jersey tonight. And that's interesting because you'd usually expect the best out of him when they're playing USA or Sweden or someone you have to lock down, but he was involved all over the place and looked good. And I think I really want to see Josh Morrissey back because I kind of see Sanheim as standing out a little bit in a bad way. Just, one of these things just doesn't belong here, but he's still a very good player and certainly has that skill set in him. But today it didn't look very good.
Yeah. And I mean, speaking of D-men sort of underperforming, I thought Parayko was noticeable tonight in a bad way. I mean, he makes the turnover on the goal and just tough shift. He makes the turnover for the first goal and then misses his assignment to tie up the stick on the rebound when it eventually goes in. So 2 mistakes on the same shift for him. I thought he was okay the rest of the game, but those are 2 glaring mistakes that, sure you can make against Team France. You're going to win 10-2, but you don't want that same mistake being made against Team USA in the final if that is how it shakes out. So,
yeah. Last guy I want to talk about, and then that's kind of all of my notes here, is once again Bo Horvat and the fact that they're throwing him out on the power play and he's in that bumper spot that he plays in New York, a little lower for Team Canada, more closer to the hash marks, and he's usually kind of closer to the top corner of the circle when he plays for the Islanders. But I thought he looked really good on the power play. 2 different utilizations of that bumper spot with him in that game. One quick pass out to him where he rips off a shot, and that's a hard one for the goalie to be set for. And then one where, out to the bumper, a quick backdoor. I think they just missed the net or hit the post or something like that. So perfect utilization of him on the power play. But also when I was talking about, 2-on-1s and this, they really want to pass. Everyone wants to pass in this because obviously a higher percentage of a goal happening when that in that situation. But it seems like the defense more than ever is sagging to take the pass away. I know you're supposed to take the pass away, but you also need to hold the lane. You can't give up a lane. But it seems like in the Olympics here, I've seen a lot of open lanes and giving a lot of space to take the shot. Well, Bo Horvat is like, okay, if you're going to give me a lane, I'm going to blow by you and make a move. Yeah. And that is the best. You actually saw that in Team Canada's women's, I think it was yesterday when they played Germany. A 2-on-1, the defender sagged all the way to the point, and then I think it was Turnbull blows by and puts it like 5-hole sneak. It's like, yeah, that's, if you're going to give me a lane, screw shooting, bust in there and make a move. Well, Bo Horvat has done that a couple times now, and he's looked really good.
Yeah, well, he scored the one breakaway goal. Was that against the Czechs or was that against Switzerland?
Yeah, that was the first game against the Czechs.
So he scores that goal against the Czechs where he busts in and sneaks at 5-hole. That would have been on Dostal then. And tried to do the exact same thing tonight on the burst that you're talking about, where he just took the lane. He's like, all right, you're going to give it to me. Here we go. And he did sneak it through. He had that little cheeky 5-hole sneak, but it just didn't quite go in. The defenders were there to clean up the garbage. But yeah, I wrote down Horvat as well for that burst, and I thought he was noticeable all night. It's crazy when you see guys sort of down the lineup. Like, even I thought Sam Reinhart had a good night or I keep saying good night, it's just habit. Good morning this morning for us. I thought he was good, and Sam Bennett always noticeable and whatnot. So the depth is just crazy. Last guy I wanted to point out though, Case, is once again, Macklin Celebrini. Like, just another incredible game for this kid. Like, how is he 19? He scores the penalty shot goal. Like, is it crazy to agree with Nathan McKinnon, who said that he might be the second best player in the world right now, talking about Macklin Celebrini? Like, he looks unbelievable. And then you already alluded to it earlier, where Celebrini, for his second goal of the night, just walks in and absolutely rips it past the goalie who was challenging. So what did you make it Celebrini's game tonight? I thought he was fantastic once again.
We interrupt this podcast to tell you about one of our favorite partners, Sign Up Expert. If you're a sports bettor, whether brand new, casual, or hardcore, listen very carefully because this ad is for you. Guys, line shopping for the best odds matters, and that's why any profitable sports bettor needs to be using multiple sports books to maximize their profits. Thankfully, there has never been a better time to get signed up, and we are here to connect you with the best promotions industry-wide. When you use our link at signupexpert.com/boysinthebooth, you can get access to all of the top sportsbooks in your region, along with a review of each platform and its unique benefits. Most importantly, all of these sportsbooks have valuable sign-up offers for new users. And when you register through our link, you will automatically receive the top offer at each one, allowing you to start line shopping with an enhanced bankroll. Guys, it's simple. When you use multiple sportsbooks, you ensure that you can always access the best available odds, which is key to successful and profitable sports betting. So, if you want to take advantage of these incredible benefits and support our brand at the same time, please consider signing up for your next sportsbook through our link in the description below, signupexpert.com/boysinthebooth. If you're planning on signing up for a new sportsbook anyways, you might as well use our link and support the boys. So, one more time, that's signupexpert.com/boysinthebooth.
Oh, again, I'm going to talk about what they talked about in the broadcast, and they pointed out that he's not being a passenger or being timid in any way. Respect to the older guys. I'm 19, just try to fit in, don't make any mistakes. He's like, put the puck on my stick. I want the puck. I don't care if you're Connor McDavid. Put the puck on my stick. I'm going to score. And he was actually, I think Kevin Bieksa, I've never heard this slang before. I liked it. He called it beaver tailing, like tapping your stick, asking for a pass.
Okay,
he's like, Celebrini's out here beaver tailing when McDavid has the puck. I'm like, yeah, exactly. That's how confident he is in his game. He knows he's one of the best in the world. So he wants the puck on his stick. And yeah, he was the best player tonight. 2 goals and assists. Absolutely flying around out there, trying to make plays. Looked really good.
Being a go-to guy on Team Canada at the Olympics at 19 is absolutely bonkers. Like, that is insane. That's like, protect this kid at all costs. How is he a go-to guy for Team Canada at 19? It doesn't make any sense. It did make me think, though. Oh, go ahead.
I really like that this. I think they pointed out, McDavid's got to be happy. He has his international winger for the next 10 years. And that makes me feel so much better because we're not out here putting Chris Kunitz on the Olympic team because it satisfies the star players' chemistry needs. We're not putting Zach Hyman out there because he plays with them in Edmonton. We're putting one of the best players in the world on the line because they have chemistry together. And for the next 10 years sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, and how about 20 seconds into the third period, Celebrini puts it on McDavid's stick, who blows by the defender and goes backhand and puts it in. Welcome to the game, Antoine Keller. That was that goalie's first shot against, and it's McDavid coming in 200 miles an hour on a breakaway. So, yeah, it's an absolute cheat code. And I was going to say earlier, it kind of makes me wonder if, and I know, like, especially after this tournament, there's been a bit of separation between these two players, but it makes me wonder what Connor Bedard would look like at this tournament, because he's also a guy who is very explosive. He has that incredible shot. He's young. He's hungry. He has that sort of same mentality where it's like, put it on my stick. I know how good I am. Just makes me wonder how good that guy would look at this tournament too, obviously being left off the list.
I have thought that at least 7 times watching this tournament, and I think it's kind of shameful that he's not on the team. I'd love to see what he could have done out here, and it's tough. I'm excited to see it when it happens.
Yeah, and surely he'll be on the next team because, I mean, up until he got injured, he was top 5 in points in the league, similar to Macklin Celebrini. So, you know, and I would argue his team is worse in Chicago, but just made me think, like, what could another young guy do on this team?
Yeah.
But then who do you take out? It's an impossible task, right? Okay. Anything else, Case, that you want to get to? I have a few other notes, rapid fire, but nothing really that important. I wanted to say that the drone cam in the offensive zone while Canada was snapping it around like the Globetrotters, I thought that was amazing. Like, I think the Olympics is doing a good job with drone cams and you know, getting good angles.
That's the zip line in the rink.
Oh, it's a zip line, not
like
a drone.
Zip line camera, not a drone, but I know exactly the moment you meant. They're
great view.
ripping it around. Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah. Anything else you wanted to touch on for this game?
No, that's it for me.
Okay. All right. Well, that was episode 269 of the Boys in the Booth podcast. Canada will play on Wednesday in the quarterfinals. We don't know what time yet. We're still waiting on seeding. But Wednesday will be the next game, and we will be back talking to you after that game and after the semifinals and after the bronze medal game, potentially, and the gold medal game. So we'll be there talking to you guys, coming at you with so much more content. Thanks again for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.